Well, hello and welcome to our first ever Zoom into the community with our friends from Serve Connecticut. I'm super excited to get this started, this new partnership, and I'm really excited to maybe introduce you to or reintroduce you to Serve Connecticut. So with that, super happy to introduce the executive director. And we're recording this officially still during March, Women's Month, right?
Yes.
So hello, give it up for our executive director.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to see you. And then, of course, please welcome our Director of Programs. I'm going to get this right. Kate Scheuritzel. I did it good. That last name, when you look at it, makes you a little nervous, Kate. I'm not going to lie to you. All right. So, Kate, unmute yourself. And I'm going to talk to Jacqueline right now because, Jacqueline, I'm so excited for Serve Connecticut. I mean, you all, I was looking at some of the facts. It's something like 22 million hours of community service since 1994. First of all, whose job was it to count that, number one? But number two, congratulations to you, Serve Connecticut, AmeriCorps. Before we get started into the nitty gritty of what we're going to talk
Sure.
about today, just remind us who you are and who you serve.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for having us. Serve Connecticut came out of a federal mandate in 1994 that suggested that every state should be committed to volunteerism and service within the state. And primarily, we support AmeriCorps programs, which addresses community challenges. We're very excited to be in our, what is the math, 27th year of service. And we're proud to say that our AmeriCorps members have put in that many hours and have used almost $1 million in tuition assistance that is earned through a completion of an AmeriCorps term of service. So, and I've been here for almost the entire time since 1996.
Oh my gosh, bless you and thank you so much. And maybe Kate, you can go into a little bit more detail because you're hearing all of this and it sounds so impressive, which it truly is, and the impact into the community, especially our youth with education, especially during this pandemic where, I know we're going to be using here, everyone, just an alert, we're using the words unprecedented, we're going to use pivot, and we're going to use adjust. Just get used to it. But Kate, talk a little bit about how you had to, implement some of these new strategies to an already existing program.
Right. So we have 9 programs currently serving in this state. That's 500 AmeriCorps members, and they've been serving in schools, they've been serving in health centers, in substance prevention, opioid prevention, and a bunch of different areas. And as you know, all of those sectors got impacted with COVID. And so our programs have really had to move with the organizations that they are working with to keep members safe, bring them into the stay home, stay safe protocols, but also keep them active in service. And to everybody's credit, program leaders and the AmeriCorps members, everybody came through that and was able to continue service in a meaningful way that was responsive to the crisis at hand.
And Jacqueline, I'm seeing you nod your head, but I would almost even dare say respectful, not judgmental, and just with dignity, the way that you will handle yourselves, especially as we learned. I mean, and we'll get into this because we're going to be talking quite a bit, but the opioid pandemic as well, I'll call it that,
Yes.
right here in Connecticut, was just heartbreaking. Through this pandemic, many people weren't able to get out some of the services that were keeping them protected, right? So we'll get into all of that, and we've got a long relationship ahead of us, but
Sure.
Kudos to you, and bless all of your teams and the volunteers and everybody that has been out there. And I know, Kate, you just touched on it, but maybe Jacqueline, you can expand a little more. How did you all do during the pandemic? I mean, how are you doing? And your volunteers, your staff, how are you?
Thank you for asking. As I've said to the staff over the last year or so, we have learned to be very flexible. In running any federal grant, there's a very large volume of regulations that you must adhere to, or they may not give you your money. And so we're very diligent about making sure that we're compliant. But in a pandemic such as this, we had to make sure that our programs understood that we have to be flexible, we have to be able to adjust, that we primarily want to make sure that you're safe, that not just the exposure, whether you're having the PPE that you need, et cetera, but just even mental stability. And how are you handling having to do programming through your living room or at home and not out with your other core members? And how do you make those adjustments? And as the program manager, how are you managing the time and making sure that your members are cared for? You have a number of members that are serving at a time when they are not with their own immediate family, and making sure that they know that they have a family within AmeriCorps. So we took the offensive and we said, we're going to make them feel as comfortable as we possibly can. We sent out care packages to all of our programs. We did whatever we could think of to ensure that our programs knew if they needed anything, we were there for them. We were able to provide them with some additional support through mental services, mental health and addiction services, that there's a line that they could call to talk to somebody if they needed to sort of talk out what kinds of things that they were experiencing, not only as the member themselves, but even the beneficiaries that were receiving the support through the members. Maybe they're watching children suffer through something and then they needed some additional people to speak to. So we've been really creative and flexible in trying to make sure that everybody knows that we don't expect the kind of service that we had planned to do in the beginning for it to look that exact same way at today's date.
So I'm going to bump up some of my questions off of just what you mentioned, and we'll circle back to some other things that I want to chat with you about. But first and foremost, I do want to let people know that you can find out about Serve Connecticut, working with AmeriCorps here in Connecticut and in the community. Maybe you have a service you'd like to offer, but first, one stop. I like to say one-stop shopping. Visit servect.org. That's really going to give you an overview of the program. And I would say this, and please correct me if I'm wrong. And then Kate, I really want to talk about your education impact here in Connecticut with schools and students and teachers and parents. But I would almost say you're an umbrella, right? You're an umbrella with so many different ways that you're reaching out into the community. And it can seem, if someone is just watching this right now, a little overwhelming. You're not new to the state. You're not new to helping people in any way, shape, or form. And as you've just said, Jacqueline, I mean, this pandemic, everybody has had to adjust, right? But I view you all as sort of that umbrella, and underneath, you just help so many people and pets, if you will, veterans, people with mental health crisis,
Right.
children, all ages. There really isn't a community that you don't reach out to with this. And I'm going to look forward to in the coming weeks and months, kind of breaking that down and sort of breaking it down and explaining in units to our audience exactly the communities you help and exactly how those communities can get help from you. And if there's people out there that can actually offer assistance, right? So again, I want people to visit servect.org. But for today, let's talk a little bit about education. It's on people's minds, right? I mean, kids are going back to school, and we did hear, right. Oh, I don't want to jinx anything. I have some wood here, but maybe graduations could happen.
Yes.
Way. I don't know what way. I don't want to jinx myself, but to get the graduation, you got to go to school, and you all have been really amazing with keeping that going. So tell us how your work has helped that process.
Yeah, well, we have a good, about 75% of our programs currently are doing service in the school as part of their mission. And so with the impact of the pandemic and schools being shut down initially and then moving to remote learning, and some of them being in hybrid learning and some full in-person, it's just been very confusing for kids, as we all know. I'm a parent of 5. I've got 2 that I'm hoping will graduate this year. And so I know what it has been like as a parent, and I know what teachers have been going through. And it's been really exciting because a lot of our members have put in a lot of hours kind of helping students bridge that confusion of hybrid and remote learning. So they've put in over 150,000 hours since last March doing just that. They have been online with kids all over Connecticut, being that guide on the side that isn't a teacher, isn't a parent, so maybe has a little bit more interplay with the kid than, teachers and parents do.
You mean making it more exciting?
Maybe not so barky.
I also want to point out, maybe Jacqueline, you can speak to this. I mean, you've actually put money into families with education. I mean, if I hope I have the statistic right, but it says here that more than 16,000 Connecticut residents have earned over $56 million in education awards. I mean, that is.
Absolutely.
You want to shout that from the rooftops. That's amazing.
Absolutely. When you do an AmeriCorps term of service and you successfully complete all the hours that you're meant to do, you receive an education award, and that's held in a trust for 7 years. And so for 7 years, you can contemplate what you'd like to pursue. You may use that money to pay towards college tuition. You can use that money to pay towards a student loan that you incurred prior to your service. But it's a wonderful way of encouraging students, particularly Connecticut students, to use that education award at Connecticut institutions of higher education.
So maybe this is a good point in time to ask, and I'm asking because I just really want to know, how does one take advantage of this directly? Is it through your website, servect.org, or how do parents find out? And does my dog qualify? Because I feel like he could definitely qualify. He's very smart.
Aww.
Go with no with that laughter, but that's fine. That's
fine. Kate, I'll let you go. You look like you are poised to respond.
I'm just trying to think of an accredited dog school that your dog could go to and use the Ed Award. Yeah, so anybody who's interested in AmeriCorps service, which is open to people of all ages, can go to myamericorps.gov, and they can find a complete listing of service opportunities of all kinds all over the nation, whether it's Connecticut or you want to pick up and go somewhere else and experience somewhere else in the country. There are so many opportunities every year, and literally all ages can serve. And in fact, senior members are highly valued, and they can also use their education award if they don't particularly have any more degrees that they want to pursue at that point in their life. They can transfer their education award to a child in their family.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah,
well, I never.
It's an amazing gift.
That's incredible right there. Before we go any further in our conversation today, what is something that you would like to share, each of you, and Jacqueline, I'll start with you, about Serve Connecticut that you don't think gets publicized enough, that you wish people would know more of what you do?
That's a good question. I would say that I would love for people to appreciate that no matter what season you are in your life, there is a service that you can offer. I know that oftentimes people think about service as something you do as a gap year, or something that you do in retirement, or something that you do in training to a career. But really, service is applicable at any time. And I think if you really look at what is going on in your backyard or down your street or within your school or within your place of worship, there's probably a service opportunity for you that you would enjoy, and it's a win-win. It's a win for you, and it's a win for the beneficiaries of that service.
Oh, wonderful. And they've proven that with statistical studies about how usually when you're volunteering and you're helping other people at any age, oftentimes the person that's volunteering gets more out of it, I think.
That's correct.
Yeah,
That's
so thank
correct.
you for that. And Kate, of course, the same question.
Yeah, so for me, it's really about the organizations. I've worked in a lot of different direct service organizations in my career that have kind of brought me on my journey to national service. And there's a lot of nonprofits, municipal agencies, governmental agencies, tribal organizations, all over Connecticut that probably have a problem that they want to solve, and that national service is probably a really good match, but they're not sure how to get from having an idea to developing a program or getting the assistance from the federal government that we funnel through our organization. So just letting everybody know that we have staff who are ready to help organizations talk any idea through. Every idea is on the table. Nothing has to be fully fleshed out. We are happy to walk you through it. We're happy to come to your board meetings virtually right now, but certainly in person. We do have a road show. And
I want to go.
Yeah, come along.
Good time. Road show. I'm in.
That's right.
Yeah, so we are very open to conversation with anybody who has an idea for a community solution that they think bringing it to scale with national service would be helpful.
All right. And I would say that we're zooming into the community with Serve Connecticut and our friends with AmeriCorps. I mean, we're going to be chatting. We're going to be breaking down the layers, telling everybody exactly who you are, how you're helping, how to find out about it. This is just a little taste of what's to come here with iHeart Communities and our wonderful new partnership with Serve Connecticut. My last question will be for the both of you once again. Jacqueline, I'll start with you, but where do you see Serve Connecticut going forward now, or how do you see Serve Connecticut going forward now? Vaccines are happening. The state is easing some restrictions, and again, this is the second time we're gonna knock on a little bit of wood here. It looks like things are really the light at the end of the tunnel, right? And a new normal is headed our way. So, what does that mean for Serve Connecticut?
For Serve Connecticut, what I would like to see is that we truly become the immediate one-stop shop for any entity that's thinking about how to address a community challenge, that they come directly to us, that we are known as an entity that can help solve and address community challenges. I would love that to be a seamless, immediate aha, just like when you hear the jingle from a certain TV program, you know exactly what it is. I would love to have that kind of recognition in the state of Connecticut.
Well, and you bring up such great points. What's going on in our communities right now. We have racial inequities, financial inequities, hunger insecurities. I mean, I know I'm saying this all the politically correct way. I never heard of hunger insecurities except for the last couple of years or so. People are starving. They're hungry.
Yes.
But we can
shelter.
We can call it a hunger insecurity, whatever. But there are real needs in our communities, and you are addressing that. We're going to break down those layers. So, if everybody's enjoying this first interview and thinking, oh, we're laughing and we're having a good time, get ready. We're going to get deep because we need to solve problems, right?
Absolutely.
We need to solve problems. We need to address these real community issues right here in our home in Connecticut. We know what's going on in the world right now. And some of those headlines, I mean, my gosh, if you have a soul, it breaks your heart. But we're going to talk about all of that here, zooming into the community with Serve Connecticut. Kate, I also have that same question for you, although I don't want to, Jacqueline's answer was really good. That was a really good answer. No pressure on you.
No, it's always a challenge. So she always comes out of the gate strong. So I'll do what I can. A couple things. One is that problem solving is really at the forefront of what we do. And the beautiful thing about this is in those moments, and I know we've all had them the past 14 months, when you may be feeling overwhelmed by what's going on in the community and feeling maybe powerless to do anything about it. National service is a really meaningful, powerful, life-changing way for you to regain a sense of empowerment, to feel like you're contributing in a meaningful way towards issues that you care about, and you're giving back to the country. So whether that's your gap year or you have a very seasoned life experience and you're bringing your life experience to your service and giving it back, wherever you are, as Jackie referred to the seasons of your life, it's really, really critical. For the commission, we're very excited that, and at the federal level, Congress and President Biden have worked together and signed into law the American Rescue Plan. And part of that is some very good funding to infuse national service across the country. Connecticut will be seeing some of that, and that will be to respond to COVID and to aid with COVID recovery and the economic recovery. So we will be looking forward to kind of figuring out how to do what Jackie was saying earlier, be flexible and allocate, work with our partners in the state to allocate those funds in a way that means the most and has the most impact with our people here.
I've thoroughly enjoyed our first conversation, and I want to make sure people know to go to servect.org to get more information. I also want to remind people that volunteerism in any way, shape, or form, just being kind, actually unites a community better than anything on the planet. Talk about creating diversity right then and there. This is where you're going to learn to work side by side with someone maybe you never would have met, right? And this is an opportunity to create the kind of change that I wish we could all head towards in 2021. There's still time to make change, and it looks like this world needs it now more than ever. And with people like Serve Connecticut and your great team and staff and the volunteers, we can all make this happen, because it's far easier to be nice and kind than it is to be angry. It takes a little, right? It's just easier. And when we're kinder to people, we're just, kinder to everyone. Actually, my real tagline is, you guys, and you'll come to know me on this, but when we're kinder to animals, we're kinder to people. That's right. True link. So we're going to work on my dog's scholarship. But until then, in closing today, how would you like to wrap our first Zoom into the community? Because I really have enjoyed in this short time, getting to know the both of you. So how would you like to wrap our conversation today?
Just a thank you. I mean, this is a really wonderful opportunity for us to get our voices heard. Sometimes we are a little bit lost in the din of all the great things that are going on in Connecticut. And so it's nice to kind of get moved to the front of the line for a moment and have a great conversation.
And I also want to acknowledge that there's a staff that's larger than myself and Kate. We have a tremendous staff that includes Tia Ingram, and it includes Melissa Georges, who are very integral in making sure that all of our programs feel cared for and monitored and supported. And last but not least, Adrienne Ekman.
It has really been a pleasure getting to know some of you, and some of my meetings with Tia and Melissa. Oh my goodness, we have the same TV taste, so I think we're all going to be doing just fine together. But even more so, we're all bonded by the community and a passion to give and a passion to help. And what I've learned from the two of you and some of your staff members so far is that I don't think you could do another job. I think people either are born with that I have to help gene, like you can't help yourself, like it's just you have to do it. There's no question. So I'm glad to have you as a part of our iHeart Communities family now. I've looked away from Kate's name for a while, so I'm a little bit petrified, but first and foremost, our Executive Director of Serve Connecticut, Jacqueline Lucier, thank you for being a fearless female in charge. And Kate Scheuritzel.
Beautiful.
Yes.
My day is complete. I can move on. Kate Scheuritzel, Director of Programs for Serve Connecticut. Thank you both so much. And I'm going to look forward to our next conversation as we zoom into the community with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.